Alright, welcome in. I'm the Kodiak, and today I am here to talk about how Sean Payton made one simple move that completely changed the fortunes of our franchise, at least for the time being. This video is going to be like a huge knock on wood sort of video because I'm aware that this could end up aging terribly. But based on the way things have shaked out for Landau and for the Broncos ever since he moved on from the team, the proof is in the pudding, and I'm here to provide all the data and everything you need to know. But before we get into it, I just want to say, leave a like if you enjoy, subscribe if you're not already. My comment question of the day is, how old were you when you became a fan of the team? Follow me on Twitter if you like what I have to say on here, at Kodiak Broncos. Let's dive right into it. So, here's the deal. I'm not here to sugarcoat things. And I'm here to talk about this today because a lot of the people that I saw defending Loren Landow back in 2022, specifically people that were on the Broncos beat, have not revisited this topic. It extends to my favorite content creators within the Broncos landscape, but listen, I don't have connections to the team. I'm not used by the team as a PR mouthpiece. I'm fine with saying stuff, even if it does land me in hot water with some of these people personally later down the road. And sure, I've seen some people talk about the great job that Bo Lowry is doing, but it feels like it's been a long time since I've seen people talk about the very poor performance that Loren Landow had as our strength and conditioning coach. I'm here to talk about the stuff that nobody wants to talk about. I'm here to keep it real with y'all. I'm here to become your favorite Broncos podcast. Yes, I'm talking to you and talk about things that nobody else wants to. Today, that involves me telling you why the Broncos have gotten so much better and literally saved their franchise after they parted ways with Loren Landow. Number one, this is not meant to be personal. This is not meant to be, me just trying to go after a dude who is renowned in the medical field. Like, he's renowned as far as ACL prevention and recovery. At least a lot of people say so that are more knowledgeable and way more connected than I am. But there was a change needed in Dove Valley. There was change to be had after the 2022 season where we suffered an absolute plethora of injuries that really affected our team on the football field. And the results speak for themselves, and we'll get into all this. And listen, I'm not a strength and conditioning coach. I'm not a physical therapist. I don't have any medical credential whatsoever. I'm a 200 subscriber Broncos podcast. So, you know what? If you want to disagree with me on any of this, hey, be my guest. I would love to hear some insight from people who actually have, medical credentials in the comment section down below. And once again, this video could be a giant knock on wood sort of thing. So bad luck exists, but the Broncos were number 4 in man games lost from 2018 to 2022. And if you just go from 2019 onwards, they are the worst team in the league by a large margin. And they also had the most ACL tears in the league during that time. And it feels like half of them happened in practice. It felt like half of them happened in training camp. It felt like our practice field was basically an ancient burial ground and would, just wipe our roster every single year. And it felt like we had so many issues with soft tissue and muscle pull injuries, like the start of Greg Dulcich hamstrings just absolutely falling apart. That happened under this Landau regime. And listen, beat writers and former players, they have all come to the defense of Loren Landow. And hey, that's completely fine because I assume a lot of them, the players, in the player's case, they worked directly with him. But the beat writers, yeah, they were probably friends with him. He probably gave them some insight that they, wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. But, the past and present strength and conditioning regimes, it's pretty telling. It's pretty telling to how this current regime has done with injury prevention. It's pretty telling to how our other one with Greek as our athletic trainer had done with injury prevention. And we're going to get into all this as well. So here's the data to back up my claim that Sean Payton firing Landau basically saved the franchise. So in 2018, the Broncos were in the top 10 for most unique injuries that caused a player to miss a game. Real quick, in 2018, it felt like we were pretty healthy. It felt like there's nothing I can think of that year were related to injuries where I'm just like, yeah, that really screwed us up. Because I'm pretty memorable when it comes to that sort of stuff. And ultimately, it felt like we were pretty healthy that year. But in 2019, they were in the top 7, and they've been in the top 5 every year since 2020. So this article was posted after the 2022 season, and the Broncos, they were always a relatively healthy squad, but they became one of the worst in dealing with unique injuries. And the article states, this is from the Broncos SB Nation blog, I can't remember what it is, but while ligament tears and others can be freak injuries, the number of soft tissue ailments also increased for the Broncos after the switch was made to Landau in 2018. Compared to the number of soft tissue injuries from 2014 to 2017, they rose by nearly 30%. And the 2022 season, once again, was not included in this study, but I can only imagine with how many injuries we had that year that it supported the claim. So this is the most ACL tears in the league, and this goes back to 2013. And just based on this is actually filtered, like you could see in the column next to the total on the far right, you get the total from 2018 to 2022, and the Broncos had 4 more ACL tears than Baltimore, or no, the Giants, who were in second place. And the Giants field basically, along with the Jets field, basically wiped other teams' rosters yearly. So it was the equivalent. Sports Authority Field and Empower Field in that time frame was basically the equivalent of playing on MetLife Stadium, but somehow even worse. And if you look at 2019, 4 ACL tears. 2020, 6 ACL tears. One of them which was Cortland Sutton. 2021, 2 ACL tears. 2022, Denver, 5 ACL tears with one of them was being Javonte Williams, and there's some other dudes. I think, Tim Patrick when training camp began as well. So this is the most man games lost on average from 2018 to 2021. So this doesn't factor in the 2022 season. So this was Landau's tenure as the Broncos strength and conditioning coach, over this time period. And once again, doesn't factor in 2022, but had it factored in 2022, the Broncos would have been pretty much dead tied with Washington as the third worst team in the league when it came to like injuries and injury luck, if you want to call it. But yeah, so these are the Broncos adjusted games lost by year. And this chart goes back to 2010. So 2010 onward, it felt like we were doing pretty well. 2014 in 2015, Super Bowl 50, it felt like we were very, very fortunate with what we were going through, because yes, I know that I'm here to talk about Loren Landow and how he did a poor job, but part of it is Greek, our old athletic trainer. He did an absolutely phenomenal job. And Luke, I can't remember the exact dude's name, but he was the leader of our strength and conditioning staff, throughout those years. And it felt like as soon as he left, our injury luck absolutely plummeted. So it rose every year, 2016 to 2017, and then in 2018 to 2019 and 2020, it just starts skyrocketing. And once again, had they lost 148 man games to injury in 2022. So had they continued on this graph, they literally would have broke it. They literally would have broke it after the 2022 season. And this is me just backing that up. Broncos finished with 148.6 adjusted games lost in 2022. If you guys remember, it felt like we were losing a starter every week. This was the Nathaniel Hackett year where it felt like we were really unprepared, like physically and mentally and everything like that. But the craziest stat, Tennessee ranked second, and the gap between the Broncos and the Titans was larger than the gap between the Titans and the team that was ranked 8th, the Baltimore Ravens. So, yeah, like I said, the proof is in the pudding. All right, so this is just Notre Dame's injury report before the national championship. They played against Ohio State last night, and listen, they had a lot of guys ruled out due to injury before the start of the regular season, but they lost a lot of dudes midway through the year, and I think they ended up losing 12 to 14 guys to season-ending injuries, which is just a lot. I know college rosters are bigger than the NFL, but whoo, baby, that is a lot. And they had some guys get hurt in the playoff, like their tight end Cooper Flanagan. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend like I'm an expert on Notre Dame's roster or anything like that, but I mean, once again, this is another thing that it just seems like the proof is in the pudding. Ari Wasserman tweets that Notre Dame has had the toughest luck of any team in college football this year. Seems like what a lot of people were saying 3 years ago about the Broncos. Now, we compare this to how our current strength and conditioning regime is done. And Penner went to the podium after the season ended. Sean Payton also went to the podium. And one of the things they did was they could not credit Bo Lowry and Dan Dalrymple enough for the job that they had done in turning around this franchise when it came to their injury misfortune. So 2023 and 2024, the Broncos finished first and second with their injury data. Now, granted, I'm not here to say I don't know exactly what kind of data they're looking at, but based on what I've seen the past 2 years, I have no reason to believe that they are lying, because we did lose Alex Singleton, we have lost Quinn Bailey, we did lose Tim Patrick at the beginning of last year, and we did lose Riley Moss and PJ Locke and Patrick Surtain all for a couple games this year, but it was a couple games at most, if my memory serves me correctly. And listen, the Broncos have had 11 players on IR since the 2023 season began. keep in mind, injured reserve does not mean season-ending injuries anymore. So, at least in the NFL. And Sean Payton had a quote about it. The Broncos were one of the healthiest teams in the NFL this season, and Payton rightfully felt proud about that. Payton told Broncos media in his postseason presser, once again, the injury data. I think 32 teams a year ago we finished first. This year, we are currently second. So it's not just luck based. It is not just something that happens. Is it? I mean, some of it is. I can't say that it's not all luck based because, once again, that's something I want to stress in this video, that guys are just going to get hurt in the NFL. That's just what happens. But Payton says that if you're finishing towards the bottom every single year, there's a lot that goes into that, and you've earned that. And you're also selling to your players, and you're talking about them wanting to be there for the recovery. They want to be here for the offseason lifting, and they're not all disappearing. They're still going to keep up the offseason workouts and everything like that. He's just talking about the offseason in general. But listen, man, the proof is in the pudding. Like, strength and conditioning coach that has had a lot of issues with his team staying healthy in the NFL goes to a college team where 12 of his guys get season-ending injuries. I mean, it's pretty remarkable that Notre Dame actually did make it to the College Football National Championship with the amount of injuries they had this year. And the Broncos, once again, knock on wood, they have now changed their fortunes regarding it, at least for the time being. And listen, once again, season-ending injuries happen. I just want to stress that because I don't want this to come off as some hit piece or anything like that. But this is a trend. This is a trend from Landau's career, and it confirms that something systematic was happening in the building while he was the strength and conditioning coach. I don't care that he was given an A grade by the NFLPA thing or whatever. The results are tangible. They're right in front of us. And if you want to defend him, fine, by all means. You want to say that he's like a world-renowned dude, yeah, whatever. I'm not going to disagree. He owns Landau Performance. That's a pretty sick facility. He knows a lot more than I ever will. He's written books about, all this or whatever. But the proof is in the pudding. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So that does it for me. Let me know what you guys thought in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.